Welcome to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined, with your host, the one and only Betsy Tinnervin. On this podcast, we bring you people who share their personal journeys in life, business, and of course, real estate. Get motivated, inspired, and priceless information from entrepreneurs, community leaders, and realtors who are thriving. Now let's get raw and real. Here's Betsy.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin, with the Tampa Bay Investments team. Glad that you are listening this weekend. I have two amazing realtors in the studio with me. Not normally do I have the opportunity to have two great agents, but they're both on my team. So I have Miss Cathy Stoner. How are you doing, Cathy?
Good.
And she's amazing. Not only is she a really great person, individual, but she has a lot of past experience just coming from an entrepreneurial family. We'll dive deep into that. And then I have Jon here, who has a fabulous last name that I botch every time I say it. So Jon, pronounce your last name correctly, please.
Debellevue.
Jon Debellevue. Like Cathy, he totally has us beat because when you have a cool last name like that, like people have to have a conversation with you. Jon is also very heavy into the investment space. I met him through different transactions and off-market deals that he comes across. So the first thing I want to do is just let you guys know kind of who these people are and how they got into real estate. So we'll start with you, Jon.
Oh, sure. So I actually have like a background in real estate through my mother. She's been a licensed realtor for over 20 years. Started in Florida. She's over in California now.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. Ended up following in her footsteps.
Was that always your plan?
No. So I was a hairstylist for like 6.5 years.
I knew that. That's why I was asking.
And transitioned like 18 months ago. And and I've just been going full steam ever since.
How was working in an actual hair salon?
Interesting, life-changing.
And that was here in Tampa?
Yeah.
Okay,
in
cool.
Hyde Park.
I bet you that you know so much juice on an entire community because, you know, when we get our hair done, or even, you know, some guys, we come in every 4 weeks. So you get to know the ins and outs of our life on a monthly basis.
Oh, yeah. People love to dish.
That's cool. Do you have any really awesome hair stories? Any crazy like hairdos or crazy tobaccoles in the hair industry you want to share with us?
Oh, it's probably safer I don't.
That's awesome. So you did hair. The cool thing about like hair, though, is that you have to be personable and on point every single day. You know, people come in and they want a service, right? You're providing a service. They have a need, you have a solution, or they have a problem and you have a solution to their problem. So interesting, that shift from hair to real estate. Why real estate?
So I always had like an interest. I think probably because I grew up kind of in a brokerage. I spent a lot of time in a Michael Saunders brokerage, like as a kid in Sarasota. And then my mom always told me it was really tough. Basically, like don't go into real estate unless, you know, you're really going to go for it.
Yeah.
And you want to run your own business because it's not for the faint of heart, essentially.
100%. Absolutely. I agree. So you kind of did the whole, because really when you work in a hair salon, you're still building a book of business, right? So you have like that entrepreneurial experience. I think what's also cool is hearing you say, my dad, too, has been a broker 40 years, and I went into the criminal justice space first instead of kind of working for the family business and getting into the same career path. But it's funny because when you grow up around that type of business, some things become second nature because it's like a part of your childhood. Like we learned to walk, we learned to talk. Like I knew about property management keys when I was 5, you know, how we tagged them, where they went, who had to have a return security deposit. So did you feel like kind of like some things just were natural?
Yeah, I think it was always bound to happen. I mean, growing up, going to open houses, doing my homework in a brokerage, I mean, just surrounded by real estate, how can you not end up having a love for it somewhere?
Sure.
So eventually I bought the course online by chance, finished it, took my exam, called my mom up. I was like, I think I'm going to do real estate. And then about 12 months in, I completely quit my day job and I've been a full-time realtor ever since.
And I know that the space that you are like passionate about, that you love, you're constantly on social media. I definitely want to have you spell your last name for people to find you on social media, is the investment space.
Yeah, I do focus heavily in the investment space. I also do help, referrals, first-time home buyers, but I do primarily focus on helping people build their initial investment portfolio, really get into the investing world and understand, the initial principles of it.
And why investments? Why invest in Florida? Like, what do you love about it? Talk to me about this.
I mean, I think if you look year over year, the best way to be successful is to put your money to work for you, make your money earn you money. Don't let it just sit around and collect dust, so to speak. Especially with inflation rates going up the way that they are right now, the best thing you can do is put your money into an investment that's going to give you a double-digit return year over year. If you look at the multiple ways that real estate earns you money, it's one of the most solid investments. And I'm here to kind of help people create generational wealth because I think that's so important.
I love that. Everyone knows that I'm obsessed with real estate. I'm obsessed with teaching it, training, investing myself, and real estate is just a sexy asset. Here in Tampa Bay, we are definitely an apex market. All of my listeners are probably going to say that that's word vomit because I say it every single week where rental rates are rising. The prices of homes are also rising. We were this way prior to a seller's market. So Jon is absolutely correct when it comes to investing in real estate and giving yourself a sense of security, having something that you can pass on for generations. And even though we are at a crazy time where the cost of money is obviously higher, we still have rapid appreciation in our market. And so you still have opportunity to build equity. You still have opportunity to leverage debt off of an asset as it continues to increase in value. So I love all of that. Cathy Stoner. So I've gotten to know Cathy Stoner a little bit. Cathy has a super interesting background. So tell me the space that you came from, Miss Cathy.
Well, I was raised in bars and restaurants. So
were you born in a bar?
No, I don't think so. I was born in Lake Forest, Illinois.
Just saying a bar, baby. That would be interesting. I was born in not a barn, a bar. Okay. So family owns bars and restaurants.
Yes, and I used to run them when I turned 18, going to school, and did that for a few years, and then just moved to Florida to start over.
Yeah.
And got in the medical field for 20 years.
And what exactly did you do in the medical?
I did everything from assisting to in-house surgeries, patient care, studies.
Now I know you have some crazy stories.
Yeah.
Do you have any good, crazy medical stories for me?
No. I can't
Look at
say.
Jon and Cathy are just being so secretive. I'm going to have the listeners start calling in because they're just not wanting to give up all their good juice. So I love that. I think that the restaurant bar business is tough, right? I always tell people ordering the food, ordering the liquor, keeping the staff, like all of that. Tough for you to see your parents kind of do that. Do they love it? Do they hate it? How has it been for your family?
It's been really good. It's definitely a different atmosphere. We only shut down for like 3 hours, so
yeah,
it's
24/7.
I never really saw my parents, too much because they were always working.
And so why real estate?
I've always wanted to do it. I just never did. So I just got into it and, to help people to, invest in for myself down the road.
For sure. I think the best thing about real estate is that you, as an agent, can also create passive income for yourself as well. And the best way to be good at anything is to do it. I'm definitely like a practice what you preach and perfect your craft. And that's what I love so much about LPT Realty is that we are real estate first. We're not recruiting first. A lot of these other big companies out there that will just remain anonymous. They're all about recruit. And a lot of these guys recruiting have sold real estate since 1995. And here at LPT, we want to teach and train and get people to really practice. And as the market shifts, like the thing about being an agent in today's world is you have to be adaptable to change. We're selling in a market right now where we have kind of weeded out the buying power for a lot of people. Finding a piece of property under $300,000 in our market is difficult. So I love that you came from that space. I think that it's awesome to hear just like how resilient and what hustlers kind of like your parents were. And I think that your personality is perfect for real estate.
Thank you.
I think it is a situation where you have to be relatable to people first and learn the contractual side of it on the back end. So I'm super honored to have both of you guys here in the studio today. If someone wants to get a hold of you, Jon, give them your digits.
813-550-5613.
And Cathy?
352-229-1219.
Everyone out there listening to the radio this weekend, whether you're in your car, at the gym, at home doing laundry, don't forget to download that iHeartRadio app. Cathy and Jon are two seasoned agents. Please feel free to reach out to them. We're going to continue more in sessions 2, 3, and 4. You will not want to miss today. We're going to pay some bills, and we will catch you after the break.
The best comp plans ever in stock and revenue share, but if we're not closing real estate transactions, all of that is worthless, because ultimately everything starts with a real estate transaction, which starts with a consumer. And so we wanted to arm our agents with the absolute best technology and best marketing tools to do more real estate. And that's, again, I think a big differentiator. I think very few brokerages really sit down and say, how do we provide tools to make sure that our agents can be more productive, sell more real estate, win more listings, win at more listing appointments, help more buyers find that home, and we're very focused on that. And so while we have the best comp plans and the best ways for agents to generate wealth and earn, we also have the best tools, and more importantly, I would say have the best tools to help you be successful in real estate.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. Happy weekend, friends. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin. We are here with the infamous Cathy Stoner and Jon Debellevue.
Yes.
Yes, I said it right.
You got it.
And both of these guys are amazing. We're talking about how they got into real estate, what they're currently doing now. And what I love about them and kind of how I coordinate all of my shows is to have, kind of just be a catalyst and a connector. And both of these guys have entrepreneurial background outside of real estate. So I really wanted to let all the listeners out there know just kind of where they came from, what their strengths are. And then also anyone that's thinking about becoming a realtor can reach out to them. They're both great mentors and sponsors in our wonderful LPT company. Cathy, you brought up something amazing at the break, because I know I asked you where the real estate came from. And so talk a little bit about the properties that you bought and your experience with those agents.
Well, I did buy some property. I've owned a few houses, and they did not help me at all. I think the worst experience I had was when I got divorced 5.5 years ago, and I had to find everything on Zillow. I was researching all the houses, and I would just call her up and she would meet me there and just open the door. It was the worst experience I ever had. We sold the house in 48 hours. So I basically had to find a house in 48 hours. And it was just the most...
Not personable, no. Wasn't helpful, opened the door, didn't really understand. Yeah, I think that a big thing in our industry is understanding who your customer base is. And both of you guys know from just, the classes that I've taught is, knowing your customer base and being able to over deliver, because there's thousands of realtors. And so how did that motivate you to become an agent and change how you do business with people?
Like I said before, I've always wanted to do it. I wanted to invest and learn a little bit more, but I definitely wanted to help people because I did not want them to go through exactly what I had to go through.
For sure. I agree wholeheartedly. I think that this is a lot of purchasing real estate outside of investments is an emotional decision, and everyone knows the vibe that you get. I'm a vibe person. For me, I've rented, I've owned, I've done multiple investment transactions. So for me, it's when you walk into a place where you put your head down at night, that's your only safe haven. Exactly. I'm so busy, and my parents were both entrepreneurs as well, that's the one place of peace, so location matters, structure matters, just how your family is going to operate in your personal residence matters. So providing people sense of security and sense of peace of mind for what they want. It's Jon, going back to the hair world, how many times did someone say, Jon, look at this picture, cut my hair like this. You knew it was going to look not good, but that's what they wanted, and you had to cut it anyways, right?
I mean, there was definitely some situations where I could not talk them into tweaking the style a little bit, and they may or may not have loved the end result,
Exactly.
Sometimes you get exactly what you ask for, and it's, you know.
Yeah, but I think in the industry of real estate, it's like I may not like a countertop or I may not like a location, but if that's what my client likes, it's my job to jump into that out of body experience and give them what they want. So it sounds like your experience, Cathy, was not that way.
No, it was not.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's
I think
a big purchase to make.
it's a huge,
It's, you want to make people comfortable and
100%. And so, Jon, with the investment space and why you got into the investment world, I know you had mentioned a couple things to me about your dad and what he was doing. Kind of walk me through that.
Yeah, like initially growing up, we lived on Anna Maria Island, super cool pad. It seemed like we had it all. My parents separated, and it just turned out that my dad wasn't as financially literate as it seemed. My mom tended to manage the money better. And no matter how hard he worked, even if he was making like six figures, he never invested his money. So he could be working so hard, but no matter how hard he worked, how much money he made, because he wasn't investing it into anything, whether it was stocks or real estate, any form of investment, really, because there's so many, he ended up passing away with nothing to his name.
And the thing that we see all the time with people in corporate America, right, is that they are working, they make their six-figure income or even sometimes more than that, and there's no plan. They haven't talked to a financial planner. There's no plan as to what they're going to do. And so then it's like, yeah, we have a house, we have a car. Both those things have mortgage notes on them. So we don't really own either of them. And we have nothing to show for all the work that we've put in. So we end up with, some type of 401k plan. And even 401k plans out there, it's a great way to take that money and buy investment properties. Like using IRA accounts is a phenomenal way to do that. And so we'll definitely dive into that a little bit later in the show. I think that brings up a really good point that 90% of what is taught in school is not, how to actually have financial freedom. I think anyone that's considering a career in real estate as well should definitely reach out to Cathy and Jon, because being a realtor is hard. It's a grind, just like Jon talked about earlier, but you also have a lot of freedom. I could choose not to get up today and go to work. Everyone on our listeners would be a little bit disappointed, but I don't have someone that I'm actually working for. I don't have a boss. I don't have a timesheet that I'm filling out. And there's a lot of freedom in that. There's a lot of power in that. You got to have a lot of discipline and accountability, but there's a lot of freedom and power in that. And so I think same way when it comes to, investing and creating that passive income, once you're done working and you've kind of tapped out in your career, you still have, money coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So looking back now, what do you think if you would have been your dad? Like, what would you have done differently?
I mean, it probably would have been the same thing that I kind of try to iterate to my clients, start investing when you're younger, buy a primary with a conventional product like FHA or conventional, low down payment, lower closing costs, get into the real estate market. And then after 1 or 2 years, you can refinance or you can rent that property out, start generating some cash flow and repeat that process. And by the time, you're in your 40s or 50s, you've probably built up enough real estate to passively, potentially retire.
And also, even using conventional loans and FHAs, you can still also stay in a property and get a HELOC. So borrow money off of the asset based on equity, loan to value, take that money, go put a down payment on another property. I have a friend in Illinois who actually bought a property recently with zero money down because it appraised like 110. They were under contract at 62 and they will loan 80% of value. So they actually didn't put any of their own money and they got a check for like 19 grand at closing. And those deals are always like exciting and interesting because I think that people listen to specific podcasts and watch Facebook groups and everyone's like, oh, you can buy rental property, zero money down. And they're like, yeah, right. Like it's just too good to be true. And it is a fact. So I think it's educating yourself. If anyone out there, Jon, wants to speak with you about investments, could you give them your information?
Yeah, so you can find me on social media at Jon Debellevue, JONDE, B as in boy, ELLEVUE. V as in Victor, UE.
And your cell phone?
813-550-5613.
813-550-5613. Got to remember, John, they're driving. They might be at the gym. They got to write that down.
Sorry, guys.
And then Cathy Stoner, if anyone wants an exclusive experience, handheld, walked through the process, actually not having to do searches for themselves, but you finding them a home that they can, even going through what you went through, going through a divorce is a time where you need to make sure your assets are protected. And I know you've been through that not only firsthand, but now you kind of specialize in all of that in the real estate industry. How would they get a hold of you?
Cathy Stoner with a C. 352-229-1219.
For everyone out there listening, LPT really provides all of its sellers and buyers with the proper tools to get maximum value for your home. And I know that's a cliche statement that a lot of realtors make, but it really is true with what we do. We set ourselves apart from other agents. Cathy and Jon are two amazing people. When it comes to investments, I know them personally as they are on the Tampa Bay Investments team. And they go through the whole training process to really dive deep into investment properties. Also just providing really great customer service to all of their clients, whether they are residential or commercial. We look forward to seeing you after the break. We're going to go ahead and pay some bills. You'll get to hear our lovely commercial break. And we also want you to download that iHeartRadio app. Catch you after the break.
Biggest win, I think, with the dual path and having these two models is that now we become a brokerage for everyone. No matter where you are in your real estate career or what your goals are today, maybe today you're not interested in recruiting or having a team, but then one day you wake up and you are. Well, if you're at the wrong brokerage to do that, you're locked in. Where in our model, we're not holding anyone hostage. We're not tying anyone in. You can move between the different comp plans and have that success and really achieve whatever your definition of success is under one brokerage platform, being LPT.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin. Happy weekend. So glad that you are listening. We're so grateful and thankful here at LPT for everyone that tunes in and listens to the raw and the real of real estate. We have some amazing people on the show today. Cathy Stoner and Jon Debellevue. So glad that I'm on point with my words today, because as everyone listens to me every week, they know sometimes these last names are killer. I think it's really interesting. Both of them have great entrepreneurial backgrounds. Jon came from the hair world, where he's heard more salon gossip in his life than you and me, Cathy. And since he came from the previous hairstyle world, where he had to still build a book of business, keep his customers happy, he is now crushing the game in real estate, dealing with lots of investment properties. Also on the residential side, Cathy Stoner comes from a huge background. Her family's owned bars and restaurants her entire life. She also was in the medical field over 20 years. And now she is also crushing the game in real estate, wanting to provide really great customer service experience for all of her clients. One thing that both of these guys do is, as soon as we go on commercial break, they start saying all these great things. And I say, whoa, I want to talk about that on air. So Cathy, I know you and I can super relate. We're both divorced. We both relocated kind of after the whole divorce situation. Back in 2015, I had tons of real estate experience in Illinois and moved my family and myself to Florida. I'd never been to Tampa a day in my life. So this will be interesting. You'll get some good juice in this conversation, Jon.
Good.
So I got divorced and I packed up and I actually bought a trailer, a 20-foot trailer in Chicago, because it was cheaper. And it was like $1,500. And it looked like, we'll just do a beep. And it looks like that. And I actually spray painted it black and filled all the holes in the trailer and moved myself here. We drove the trailer down, and then I sold the trailer once I got here for $2,500. So I profited $1,000 off of my move. Only I would do that, right, Jon?
Made back all your money.
Exactly. And never had been here, never had seen the rental property that I was getting into here, and had to start over. And I know that you were just talking about that, just having to start over and like what you came from and how you had to start over. So touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, my ex-husband did well for himself. He made well over six figures, and then I still worked. And going from 4,000 square foot home to an 1,800 square foot home, it was a big change.
Yeah.
So definitely, you know, going from well over 6 figures to double digits, it was definitely
an eye opener.
Yes, definitely.
And then I know you were talking like at the break too, just about how you had 4 cars and 2 mortgages and all these different things. And you've kind of wanted to get into like investing in real estate yourself. But at the time it was just kind of overwhelming.
It was overwhelming. I was just trying to deal with the divorce and the transition and working, and my kids were younger then. So it was a lot. I just knew I couldn't fit real estate in at that time.
I think like people that haven't experienced though, you know, anyone that is in a similar situation, you know, definitely reach out to Cathy, because I think that when people can relate to what you've been through, especially like in the real estate space, I know when you have assets and different things together and you're trying to protect, you know, assets and be fair, that there are people that need to reach out to the experts in that. And that's having a really great real estate agent to sell things appropriately. And then also involve, we have Kristen Martinez. She's a phenomenal real estate attorney. She is a flat fee attorney. If you're listening, Kristen, we adore you and love you. And she does a great job for us. I love the fact that she's flat fee and she only does real estate. It's very rare to find an attorney that only does real estate law. So she's actually going to be a guest with us in a couple weeks. Don't forget to tune into that show. Great information. I think that's awesome, Cathy, that you're just like kind of willing to like share your story. I know I've been pretty like transparent about mine. Real estate as a mom who was divorced and a single parent has given me ability to be there for the boys' sports or, you know, whatever I wanted to be there for. I've also had to hustle really hard. I think listening to like Jon's story, watching his mom, I know Jon and I have had these side note conversations as well. Jalen, my youngest, is 19 and he's in sales. He's killing it. You know, he decided to go into sales and trades instead of go to college. And although that was kind of like shocking at first, I'm so excited that that's what has transpired, because he's doing better than he's the youngest, you know, person. He's making like $26 an hour when you average out his commissions, and he just got a new sales job, and the lowest paid commission is 150 grand a year. And so at 19 to be able to take, you know, yourself, jump into sales is pretty great. But I think just like in talking to you, Jon, that, and Cathy, what you just mentioned about not really seeing your parents because they were working, like that Jalen experienced that. You know, he experienced me working, me hustling, me building a business. And so now that may have been rough, you know, for him a little bit before, but now it's paid back twofold. Do you feel similar, Jon?
I can relate to you guys in a way because I come from a separated household. So my mom was a single mom doing real estate, working a day job, hustling full time, trying to create flexibility, you know, to see us and attend like all of our school events and functions like that. And I didn't end up going down any type of traditional path, but here I am now. And she says that she's very proud of me. So I must be doing good.
I think that that's awesome. I think it's like when you're in those tough times, and I mean, Cathy, you know this as well, when you're trying to balance work, life, kids, and being in real estate, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner. You have 2 options in business. You either do it yourself or you pay someone to do it. So you have to self-motivate. And I'm sure watching your mom, who you talk about all the time, work hard, that had an impact for sure.
Yes, she still works. We have 1 business left, and every time I go there, she's still working it. She don't have to, but she just...
Yeah, she loves it.
She does. Yeah.
And I think I feel the same way. I went home and I had said to my father when I left in 2015, okay, you're done developing now, and you know, I can kind of go start my own thing in Florida. And he said, yeah. And then I go home and there's another 100 townhouses that are up. And I'm like, Dad, like, when did that happen? Like, when did you do that? Oh, I don't know. We had the land for a while. Oh, yeah, let's just put up 100 townhomes. No problem, you know? But I do think it's important for everyone out there listening who happens to be any type of entrepreneur, whether you're in real estate, just running your own business that has kids and a family and wants to find that work-life balance. I am definitely preaching to the choir. I'm preaching with you, not at you. To find that is just tough, you know, and I do think you have to fill your own cup up in order to stay full, to give to other people. But we can all say that, but then finding the time to do that is difficult. You got any good tips of advice on that?
Learn how to time block.
Oh, time blocking is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, prioritizing, scheduling out your days, waking up early, going to bed early. Like, I get most of my work done before a lot of people are even out of bed. So I get up at like 6 or 7 a.m. I knock out most of my stuff early. And then all of my conferences and stuff I get done in the morning. Generally by 3 or 4 o'clock, I've already done my whole entire day.
Well, I
Not
mean,
me.
Kathy,
I'm like up till 11, 12 o'clock at night.
No,
Yeah, so
I
what do
mean,
you
now
do,
I still
Kathy?
answer the phone. I still answer the
no,
phone.
I know. But like, so you're kind of the opposite.
Yeah, I am the opposite. I mean, I still get up early, but I'll go to the gym and do what I need to do, like errand wise, and then I'll start phone calls and
Is the
then
gym like mental health for you? Like,
It
does that
is. It
help
helps
you?
with-
Because I meditate.
I tried to do that. My mind just
I
goes somewhere else. I'm
I
still learning
tried
how to do
last year. I was really good at doing like my 12 minutes of gratitude, and then I tried to meditate for a little bit. But my ADD, man, is like bing, 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 bing. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to get in this really good like meditational state, and then it's like bing, 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 bing. So yeah, the gym for me is definite like more of a relief for myself.
Exactly.
But I will tell you that meditation, and Kathy, I will say this, John is definitely right about this. Like meditation, it's done amazing things for people. That's our new goal, Kath.
trying to meditate.
Absolutely.
I know. My mind just,
We gotta do it.
I know. It's hard.
John, you gonna help me with this?
I'll help y'all. You got to motivate me to get to the gym.
Okay, deal. John, if somebody wants to reach out to you, can you give them your phone number really quick?
Yeah, 813-550-5613.
And Miss Kathy.
352-229-1219.
Happy weekend, friends. We have talked about the raw and the real of real estate. We're also getting into some work-life balance. If you're thinking about being a realtor, reach out to John or Kathy, and we're going to pay some bills. We will see you after the break. Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin, with the Tampa Bay Investments team. If you have been with us this morning or this evening, we have given you all types of goodies. Cathy Stoner and Jon Debellevue have been here sharing their personal experiences about backgrounds and families being entrepreneurs, how that's affected them in starting their own businesses, and why they got into real estate, which is just phenomenal. Just kind of the hoops that they both jumped through. If you're interested in being a realtor, please, please, please reach out to us. I will give you my phone number as well, 813-609-0229. If you're also interested in just knowing about this crazy market right now, why you should buy, why you should invest. If you feel like you shouldn't, we can walk you through just kind of what's a good fit for you, especially these two amazing people today, Cathy and Jon. We wanted to end today's show just talking about real estate teams and why they're so important. I run the Tampa Bay Investments team here. I also have Miami International Investments. And when I first got to Tampa, you know, even with 10 years of experience in real estate, I couldn't find anyone that was a good fit for me. I think that a lot of people have the conception of team that you have to be a brand new agent, just got your license, and that's not true. With the resources that LPT provides, free signs, free business cards, all of the above, and then also our team, as we're a team under LPT, what we provide agents who may have done 10, 12 transactions last year, but now want to scale their business. And we try to address all the pain points. So, Cathy, you coming into the industry, you know, as a newer agent, why did you join a team?
I joined a team, like you said, you have to find your fit. And I was looking for more
Push, drive.
I'm trying, yeah.
If you tell the world that you're a good fit with me, they may think that they may think that you're scary.
You and I are a lot of like, you know, coming northern women, but no, I wanted to join a team because I felt like I could learn a lot more. I could, you know, learn all sides with commercial and residential. And, you know, I just felt like it was a better fit for me as a newer agent.
Yeah, a lot of times teams require you to be a buyer's agent, a listing agent. They don't really let you work the investment space. So I would agree that it is nice to have a team that allows you to do all three of those things. So then at least when you're new, you can find your passion, find your niche focused, and then really drive that home. I would definitely agree.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wanted to be able to learn everything. So then you can have that area, because a lot of people would ask, like, what's your farm area? What's your specialty? Well, you don't know unless you try it all. So that's the reason I was my big focus of a team.
Absolutely. And Mr. Jon, who when I kind of like, by the time I met you, like you were pretty seasoned, you kind of had like a book of business and you were kind of like, okay, I'm ready to like scale and like make this thing big. As a seasoned agent, what is the benefits of like being on a team?
You're so gracious. I appreciate those kind words.
Wait, did you just call me gracious?
Yeah.
Now, everyone knows that Jon is full of it if they describe Betsy Tinnervin as gracious. Because that is not any type of adjective that I've been
You're
called.
too kind. You're too kind. Yeah, gracious may not be the best adjective for Betsy, but kind, definitely. Definitely a super kind person. So yes. We're not lying on that part. I mean, where I was at kind of in my journey, I had already kind of broken through some of the basic barriers, gotten, a listing, gotten a couple buyers into some homes, started to get referrals and kind of build up, like you said, but I wasn't where I wanted to be quite yet. And through social media, the magic of social media, we connected and I saw what you were doing and I was like, that's what I want to be doing. I was like, and if that's what awesome. I want to be doing, then that's who I need to be with.
Yeah, I do think like people always used to say, oh, you're not who you associate with, right? Like, oh no, I didn't make that decision. Johnny made that decision. Or, oh yeah, that person's my friend, but that doesn't like describe who I am. And I think as we get older in life, I've realized that is like 100% true. You're
100% the company that you keep. Like that was something 1000%. My mom raised me on. And I never, like you said, when we're younger, we're like, no. Like,
yeah,
it's so-and-so. Like I was just hanging out with the guys, like whatever. Yeah. And that's not the case. Like if you're surrounding yourself with bad energy and bad people or just negative influences, you're not going to get positive places in life.
I also feel like it doesn't even have to be negative, right? Like as the world cycles through in business and in personal, you outgrow certain people.
Yeah.
And other people choose to be on self-growth patterns. And so I do feel like you can go through bumps in the roads with people that you work with people that you're friends with. But if they're choosing not to continue to grow, you get to a point where you plateau off. And so I do think what makes our company, LPT, our brokerage, different is that Robert Palmer continues to excel all of the technology and marketing resources, because within any company, that's what changes the most. The way that we market properties, the tech softwares we use are going to continue to evolve and grow. And, our CEO of our company and founder, Robert Palmer, always continues to grow in that aspect. As a team leader, what I try to do is change the way we do business per the market. And the market shifts weekly, monthly, sometimes daily as to how our clients are getting funding and what inventory we have. And I do think that, I've said this before, COVID weeded out a lot of amateurs. I enjoyed COVID. I thought COVID was great because for me, I continued to do what I was doing, and the pool of realtors that just quit and gave up was tremendous. And so those people couldn't adapt to change. Like, it wasn't a face-to-face handshake during COVID. Realtors were actually considered essential employees. For all you listeners out there, they definitely were. We were told that we were essential employees. We had to go tour houses, talk with our sellers, but we had to change the way we did business, because now we have this listing on the market and we have people that are afraid to come into other people's homes because they might get sick. So we had to change the way we did business. And even now we're in a market where money costs more. And we don't have a lot of inventory. So we have to change with the market and the times. And so as a team lead, I try to go out and get creative people who do creative things such as Brandon Westner with National Title Solutions, Justin Roth with Embrace Mortgage, Kristen Martinez, the attorney that we use. And I coordinate with all of those people, Kelly Baird with Choice Home Warranty, and say, hey, what can we do for people to overcome certain objections that we're going to have when selling homes? One of the objections is it's a seller's market, right? So sellers don't care that something is like slightly broken. It's an as-is product. Here's what it is. We go to Kelly, we provide a home warranty. Now our buyer has a peace of mind. So you have to adapt to that. Same thing with interest rates. You have to really stay on top of these vendors. Is it a good idea for them to buy down? Is it not a good idea for them to buy down? Should they do an ARM? Should they not? And I think that that's just critical and essential in this market. I think both of you guys have surrounded yourself with great people. I mean, of course, because you hang out with me, right? Exactly. No, outside of myself, you've surrounded yourself with great people, and you also have done your due diligence to grow as agents and grow in the real estate community. I think both of you sharing like your personal stories today on Cathy going through a divorce, kind of starting over, Jon coming out of a different industry. Both of your parents, doing everything that they've done is phenomenal, and I appreciate the transparency for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got 2 smiles. You guys can't see them. Cathy, if anyone wants to talk to you about getting into a home, and even anyone out there, male or female, that is potentially going through a divorce, starting over, getting into a new career, how can they reach you?
352-229-1219.
And Mr. Jon, anyone thinking about necessarily investing in real estate, or also as well jumping into real estate, coming from a different career, how could they reach you?
813-550-5613.
I am so grateful for everyone that listens to us every weekend. I know we have tons of followers like on social media. We definitely are grateful and appreciative of our one and only founder, Robert Palmer, who makes this show not only raw and real every weekend, but he makes this possible for all of our agents. We do have coming up next week some awesome guests from the community. Again, I love you guys. I love talking to you. I hope that we bring you great information, not just in regards to real estate, but just in also becoming an entrepreneur, being an agent, being in the real estate space. We also want to give a shout out to everybody in Southern Florida, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Port Charlotte. We hear you. We are with you. We are sending love and prayers and hugs as you guys continue to rebuild and be Florida strong and be fighters. We also have an amazing event coming up at the end of October, which is the Dance Festival. If you are interested in knowing about that, there's going to be booths there. There's going to be people coming across the world globally for an amazing weekend, and we will have a real estate booth there. So get in touch with me, 813-609-0229, and we are officially signing off, and we will be right back at you next weekend.
Thanks for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined. We hope this episode motivated and inspired you, and don't forget to rate and review us. Thanks again for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast with Betsy Tinervin.